Skinny D4 say, do you regret me? It's VGC the Video Game Podcast, episode 157, with me, Jordan Midler, Chris Scullion, Andy Robinson, and Alex Donaldson. This week, another Nintendo veteran departs, and we chat Resi 9. But first, how's it going, folks? Alex Donaldson, you were here last week in my absence. How are you? What's new?
I'm good. I'm back with an actual proper setup this week because I actually have my stuff set up, so I will sound.
Look, the VGC Nation spoke and they were ready for taking your head off, but
yeah, I mean, who can blame them too, right? As they should.
How are things over in Eurogamer Towers?
Yeah, Eurogamer's fine. A little bit of travel this week about stuff that we can't talk about yet. And I'm deep in prep for 2 weeks' time. I'll be at DICE. So a lot of, to be fair, a lot of the DICE, well, almost all the DICE business is RPG side business rather than Eurogamer business. But I'm quite excited for that because, many decades, well, not many decades, 2 decades I've been doing this, like 10 E3s and God knows how many Gamescoms, and before that, what was it called? Whatever it was called before Gamescom. Andy will know. Chris will probably know. But all these years of all these trade shows, TGSs. Was it always called? Was it called Gamescom when it was in Leipzig as well? Mm-hmm. In my head, it was something else. But all these trade shows, and I've never done DICE. So I'm quite excited to go out and just sort of see some of the talks and have a drink with some people and have a catch up with some people. So a lot of my life is that, and some reviews. There's some stuff coming out, right? So
lot of pick.
Head down.
Still no Racoin date, by the way. Developers of Racoin, get the finger out. Are you going to?
They're going to miss their moment, mate.
Don't worry.
A huge swell of white.
I'm losing enthusiasm for it by the week.
You were never going to play it, Scullion. You never played Balatro.
Listen, I'll wait until these things are released properly before I give them my time to do. So I'm up for it, but I want the full. I don't want a demo.
Alex, how long are you going to spend in Sin City while you're out in DICE?
Well, the whole thing is there. So,
is it? That's why you're going then. I get it. All this pretext we'll have a drink with the developers. I'll do stuff for RPG site. Fucking put the house on red.
I definitely. I mean, if I'm being entirely honest, I'm a poker player and I love blackjack, and I love Vegas, and that was one of the advantages of going to DICE. To be fair, is that if you've got a player's card and you're relatively, you're relatively active, and I tend to find my way there a couple of times a year. Like after Summer Games Fest, I tend to go there. After the awards, I tend to go there just for a night. You can usually get comped. So the nice thing was, never mind the cost to the business in the sense that, I had to fly, but I was able to get rooms in the hotel where DICE is taking place for nothing.
Nice.
So it's quite nice. But I will, don't get me wrong, I will be playing a lot of poker, a lot of blackjack. I literally was looking at my bank account today and going, how much can I budget per day? What's the exchange
You double
rate?
it. You triple it. Don't worry about it. You'll be totally.
Well, if I'm lucky, I'll come back. If I'm lucky, I'll come back on this podcast and I'll tell you that I came back with more than I left with. And
probably the only dice you're going for is the odd game.
I'll come back potless probably, but we'll see.
Chris Scullion, how are you doing?
Hello. Doing good. Got a sore head today, but that's by the by. I was
Been on the ras.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You know me. You've
been on the never keep me out. Only place you've been is on the book, mate.
This
is the real Chris drink.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although last night, I for the first time in a long time, I beat Donkey Kong Country, which is
Congratulations.
I still think that's got the best final boss music ever in a game.
Yeah.
When you're fighting him in the pirate ship, that's fantastic.
Wouldn't know, mate. Never played it.
Can't beat it. Educate yourself. Other than that, I was saying at the start, the kids finally got into Adventure Time, and it's amazing to finally watch a show with a kid that we can both enjoy.
Woke cartoons,
exactly, instead of the stuff she used to watch. So I'm generally in a happy place right now because
good
TV viewing has improved substantially.
Yeah. Andy Robinson, what's new with you? Stop fiddling with your watch straps.
I'm trying to put a watch together. It's how I pass the time when you guys talk about guff.
All the time then.
What have I been doing? I've also been somewhere that I can't talk about, so that's not useful.
The same place.
Allegedly. I interviewed the guy who made the technology for the Wii remote yesterday, and I showed him my giant Nintendo Museum Wii remote. and I think his respect for me dropped slightly. It was a gamble. Like, he either thought it was going to be really cool, or really not. And I don't think he was impressed with the giant plushy Wii remote.
Is he getting any money out of that?
What you need to do is put a real Wii remote inside that, and then actually use the big remote to move it around to play Wii Sports with.
That's
actually a good idea.
That's a solid
like a real baseball bat.
Aren't those situations always really difficult when you end up in an interview and you want to show your interest.
Your toys.
You want to show your interest in your fandom and you want to prove your legitimacy almost. I had this the other day where we'll talk a bit about this, but I was interviewing the director of Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7? Well, yes, actually. Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 9. I was in this room and I was in this setup, and he started asking loads of questions about what was behind me. And, all those your favourite games. And I was like, do I go heavy on the fact that there's Resident Evil games on this shelf? Or do I, and some of his games, or do I just go, oh yeah, there's, I've got my N64 games, got my Star Fox, whatever.
Yeah, my favourite games is Silent Hill.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the good one.
Yeah. It's always hard to judge where to pitch it, whether you're going to put them off or get them into it.
I had this.
I say you double down. You go. Here's my scrapbook of all the times I've stalked Mila Jovovich, star of the Resident Evil movie, and like, this is how much I love Resident Evil. You properly double down and really creep them out.
I gambled that recently with a high profile interview you'll see shortly. That I asked a question that showed a bit of knowledge, and I don't know if they were being polite, but they said they were. In the answer, they laughed and said they were impressed, and I could have fucking left at that point. I was like, "This is it. I'm done now. My gamble paid off." But
impressed or depressed?
Impressed.
Wow, yeah,
impressed. That was when I was in Japan. This morning,
there it is.
I said,
you've been to Japan?
I have, yeah.
Well,
pretty good. That's two now, Chris. This morning, I had a real depressing moment. I set my alarm for 8 a.m. because today was the release of some new Pokemon cards commemorating the 30th anniversary. I was like, okay, this little shop, this little secret shop in Johnston, I'll go down there. I turn up, I'm about 10 minutes before it opens, and then all these guys start appearing. And it's honestly like we were going dogging or something like that. Just no one was making any eye contact. It was so uncomfortable. I was like, I know what yous are all here for. Like, this is really strange. So establishing dominance.
Like you're in the queue for Bonnie Blue.
Exactly. The Bonnie Blue I'm on.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
That's what he told his parents.
It's less embarrassing
this morning. No. I was in the queue for Bonnie Blue.
So I established dominance and stand at the front of this makeshift queue because no one had really established any kind of line, and they weren't going to start with me because they looked like absolute gimps, so I wasn't worried about that. we go in, I buy one of each product. I'm not taking the piss here, and I bought it to open. I'm like, that's good, that's fine. Gonk behind me goes, is there any limits? Could I get a display box per chance? And I was like, fuck. If this boss man doesn't say no, I'm going to jump over this desk and rip it to pieces. But thankfully, the guy who was very clearly no sure what he was selling was just like, no, one. And I was like, good. We're on to a winner here. And the guy was raging, man. He was like, well, there's a couple of different art styles. So is that one per art style? And he just went, one. So the guy got one thing. I was like, fucking a victory for the good guys. And then I heard him saying to his mate, oh, okay, we'll just go to the Argoses then. So apologies to the Glasgow and Paisley Argos staff who will be getting these absolute sweaty monsters through their doors for the rest of the day. But yeah, I did that. I felt a bit dirty leaving, but the packs are quite good. I got a you can't really see that, but it's a Team Rocket's Doug Trio, which is nice. And a few other bits and pieces.
Is this the attaché case then, the Team Rocket, or was that an old thing?
No, that was a very, very expensive old thing. This is the main thing is a little box with a 30th anniversary coin and a 30th anniversary Pikachu, which it'll be on sale all year, but I just wanted to get it in case it suddenly becomes a nightmare.
It's important to have these things so that in 50 years' time,
so that everyone knows you're cool.
So that in 50 years' time, your grandchildren can throw them away.
I've got first of all, I'm never going to have grandchildren.
You just know it's going to happen as well, didn't you?
No,
all my shit,
all my stuff behind me
is going in a boot sale Unfortunately, someone's drawn on the Death Stranding 2 poster.
It's macabre. It's macabre, but it's macabre. But it's actually, when we did our wills, me and my wife, it's actually written into my will. Like, it names a couple of my mates, a couple of the boys, going like, "Don't just get rid of stuff. Call up these guys, and they will help you to determine what is worth money." So you can do it.
Bionic
right.
Commando rearmed on the Xbox 360. That's a £1 million game right there.
Dev kits in the loft and stuff. They just go, off to Oxfam it all goes.
I've not done my will yet. You should probably go out trolling.
This is definitely a discussion for a video game podcast. However,
listen,
it's never too early
to call your solicitor.
You should do it.
My will just says leave everything to Scullion.
Well, I should bloody well think so.
Yeah.
By which I mean I appreciate it. I think I'm going to go out trolling. My will is going to be burn it all and stream it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Burn the games room down.
Can I host your funeral, Chris? I think that'd be a good laugh if I hosted your funeral.
As long, just keep the Japan anecdotes to a minute.
More people than I expected.
Not as many people as I saw in Shibuya.
Yeah. Double figures. Right?
Last thing Chris said to me was how he really admired my deep knowledge of Shibuya Crossing.
Of Nihon, as us natives call it.
Arigato gozaimasu. I'll be sure to, when I host your funeral, say the church the massive Catholic church that we're in, because you're a huge Fenian, needs your support, but not as much as patreon.com/videogameschronicle, where you can get extra podcast videos and ad-free browsing, including this week's Off Topic, which included me actually shouting at the pair of them because they were being so nasty to me. So be sure to go and check that out. It was good.
Justified.
Fun. It's been a while, but believe me and Chris both have drinks. Monster Ultra Wild Passion, new to America. I got it from the import shop. £50 a can. Let's get into it.
Is this a sugar-free effort?
Yeah, sugar-free effort. Sorry, Chris. I know you need your fucking arteries clogged ASAP, Rocky.
I do. Well, you've already established I'm dying before you, so we might as well accelerate.
Everyone's dying before me. This is excellent. I like passion fruit things, and there's really nothing you can go wrong with a nice passion fruit energy drink, especially when it's sugar-free. So this gets 4 Andy Robinson heads out of 5, which is my new scale that I'm debuting for 2026. Look forward to it continuing from now. One of the unpaid labourers in the VGC Discord, can you make graphics of the Andy Robinson heads, and we'll superimpose them on a podcast that's already published? Chris, you've got one?
I do. I was in my local Asda recently and went to the Polish section. Expected to pick up a can of Mr. Sheen furniture polish, but instead I got loads of foods and drinks from Poland. I've gone for Engine.
Engine? Nice.
Engine, an energy drink classic. And it says fuel for action.
Do it in a Polish accent.
It's just a wee... I certainly won't. And the logo is just NG, because presumably when you finally have the last one, you just go... and then fall over. Before even opening it, I'm going to guess this is Red Bull again, because like so many of these things are, they just taste like Red Bull. So we're going to
flat Red Bull
attempt to open it. It's one of those ones where the ring pull is like fused to the can, so I'm going to break a nail trying to.
That's because they want you to appreciate your last moments on Earth before the NG knocks you out. Are you using that tool here?
Total. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to use Lego Darth Maul's lightsaber to pry open.
They make these difficult to open because they're not meant for human consumption. I'm telling you, it's like they need to print that message on the can that's near the nuclear dump sites, right? Like, this is a message. You know, this is not a drink of honor.
You know how they have the pictures of calcified lungs on packets of fags, and you start doing that on energy drinks. Yeah. How is it, Chris?
It's like diluted Red Bull.
Oh,
that's
lovely.
Horrible.
That's the stuff. Down in one.
It's not very. Down in none.
Down in none. Well,
not a fan.
Coward.
I'll resort back to my fail-safe Iron Brew Extra.
Yeah.
Which I always have just in case.
Well.
That's horrible.
Alex, you've brought 10 energy drinks. You're going to down them all in one. No, how was your whiskey tasting? How did that go?
It was good. It was good. We learned a lot. We did 9 whiskies, which is probably quite
You're all
a
at
lot.
that. That's whiskey. I'm telling you, that's whiskey.
No, this is the thing. They really are. They really are. They really are very, very different. And the 9 that we had, which is a lot for that, I was very ill the following day. because we carried on drinking afterwards as well. We played after we finished. Some of the lads went home because they were too drunk.
Played Street Fighter?
Just too tired. There was a bit of Street Fighter played on the arcade cab in the office, but we played the XCOM board game after we finished.
Nice.
It was a great adaptation of the XCOM reboot.
Yes, man.
But it's like, I just have to briefly talk about this game. It's a 4-player board game, but it comes with an iPad app. So it's you guys versus the game and the app.
Right, okay.
And it's real time, so when you press a button on the app to start the turn, everything is happening in real time. A turn maybe lasts 3 or 4 minutes. And if people in the group aren't fast enough and aren't on task, it's going to kill you. And it's XCOM, so it's got the permadeath and all that sort of stuff. As far as the whiskey went, I think what we learned is none of us really have a very big taste for Irish whiskey, particularly. We had 2 Irish whiskies.
Bastard.
We had 2 Irish whiskies. One of them was £180 a bottle, and one of them, the same brand, but it was a £30 bottle. And only 2 of us, probably arguably the 2 people who know the most about whiskey, managed to correctly guess which of the 2 was the expensive one.
Did you do a Pepsi challenge with it?
Yeah. But the top 3, if anyone was interested, if anyone out there listening likes whiskey, there was a Spey from the Speyside Distillery, single malt, 14-year. That was our top pick. Our second pick, one for you, Jordan, it was the Yamazaki, straight from Japan, 12-year age.
Arigato.
And then there was another Speyside one, Tamnavlin from Scotland. It was really, really nice, and that was the cheap one. That was the one that was like that placed high. That was only like 30 quid. So that's when
and
you
in
could go to
4th place, I believe 4th place was Lemon Hooch.
Yeah.
4th place was Strong Zero. Actually,
5th place was Frosty Jacks, which I recently found out via our good friend CMB. Frosty Jack cider is not made with apples; it's made with onions, and then they put apple flavouring into it because it's cheaper to make than using apples. That's the stuff. A bit of Frosty Jacks, a bit of White Lightning.
The one that we used to do when it comes to cider, when we were at uni and stuff, is we used to do a cider called Free Hammers. And they've brought the percentage down now. So now it's about 7.5%, I think, 7%. But back in the day, it used to be like 9%. And you could get like a 3-litre bottle for like £4. So it was so you could just go to the offie with 20-25 quid. You all chip in, you buy loads of bottles of Free Hammers. It was all like 8-9%. It didn't really taste of anything except just apple and burning, and you would get absolutely annihilated on it. They even cheaper. Sorry, I just looked it up on Wikipedia. In 2009, a litre of Free Hammers could be bought for £1.19. Cheaper by alcoholic volume. Cheaper by volume than a bottle of water, and cheaper by alcoholic volume than like the cheapest vodka you can get.
My god!
So it was cheaper than water.
Surely they don't sell this anymore. We used to get Super Strongbow.
Kansas Super.
Yeah.
If you Google it, all the images are straight 2008 quality cameras. I think clearly been discontinued.
I think literally
7.5%.
I think both those, Free Hammers and Super Strongbow, were like, they had to increase the price and reduce the ABV in order to come within government guidelines, because I think they were that bad. One of my mates has still got a tattoo of the Free Hammers logo. But Super Strongbow also was like, although I remember, compared to Free Hammers, I remember Super Strongbow having a horrible smell.
They all have horrible smell because it's the smell of like a bus stop.
Yeah. We used to drink a lot of Scrumpy Jacks, and it was cider that came in like the big kind of moonshine bottles. So you would down that, and then you'd see how far you could throw the bottle. It was real delinquent behaviour, but it was.
See, I'm gonna have my old man moment.
Here we go.
That you won't realise this is that when we started, like about when I was 16, something like that. So what year is that? Like early 2000s, right?
Yeah,
like 2001, something like that. Cider like came back in. Like that's like Magners and Bulmers like became popular. People getting the glass of ice and stuff. Like before that, it was a straight homeless person drink.
Yeah,
like for ages. Like people just didn't. I mean, that is my understanding. People constantly telling me at the time, like, "Oh my god, you're drinking cider."
Yeah, it was a Neddy kind of. So I started. Sorry if you're listening to this, my parents. I started drinking when I was like 12, 13, the general kind of Scottish age. And it was like Ned's that drank cider, and then because it was so cheap, that was what you went for. Nowhere in Foxbar or Paisley ID'd anyone, so you could pretty much get whatever. Then it transitioned to who can drink the most straight vodka, which was really good for the internal organs. Glen's vodka, when it was like fuck it, it was like furniture cleaner. But then by the time I was like 18, 19, I was kind of bored of it, like totally over it by that point because we'd been doing it for so long. It's like all these Americans that turn 21 and they like get blackout drunk because they've not put the hard yards in. They've not been talented.
I hate to step on your turf, but it's a bit like the bars in Shibuya, which are full of Americans. And much love to our American listeners. But it's much love to our American listeners. But it's an issue of geography, right? We can get a bus to a town centre at age 16 and drink some booze, whereas they need a designated driver. It's a very big place, very spread out. So
and if you're 16,
Europeans can have lots of opportunities to train their alcohol, as is witnessed by the very loud Americans who've had one half Coors Light in the Shibuya area.
It's all the things, right? Because like you say, Coors Light, most of their beers are light beers, so they're just not used to higher ABVs. This is the thing that's happening in the UK though as well, because of all the costs and stuff.
All
like
the wokeness,
everything's coming down, right? In ABV.
Well,
so, like,
it's not just. It took me ages to realise that.
It's
because they started taxing per unit.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago. So everything's slowly reducing because they pay less tax.
So Carling's 3.7 now. Not that I would drink Carling, but
all right, Mr. £130 whiskey, we get it. You've got a bit.
No. But Carling is terrible. At least
Carling is the de facto worst.
Yeah.
For the benefit of Chris, should we talk about something that's
sure.
I never thought I'd find myself desperate for Jordan to start talking about Japan again, so I could relate to it.
Speaking of wokeness, story number 1: Dispatch is censored on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, and this might be the reason why. If you've not caught this, the superhero narrative adventure Dispatch is now on the Switch,
because Nintendo users don't like boobies.
Yeah, it features occasional nudity. According to Video Games Chronicle, breasts and penises are visible. There is a setting in all versions to enable a visual censorship option, which covers them with a black bar. But on Switch and Switch 2, this option is on by default, and there's no way to turn it off. Scullion, you did a lot of research into these breasts and penises. Why do you think that this censorship has been enforced on us by Mario?
I certainly did do a lot of research, and then I found out about that they were censored in this game as well. So I shifted my research to this. I don't know how the situation works on other systems, so I'm quite ignorant in how the Xbox and PlayStation submission process goes when submitting games. But as I understand it on Switch, on the eShop, most developers submit a single game. And the game is so on the eShop, a single game.
And that game is Doki Doki Panic.
Everything stems from Doki Doki Panic, but the eShop hosts a single binary, the single game, and that is distributed to all regions. And all that happens is when that game appears on your Switch, it checks what region your system settings are set to and gives you that version of the game. So if I download Breath of the Wild from the UK eShop and then change my system settings to Japanese, it turns into the Japanese version of the game. Which is also why when you buy games from the Japanese eShop, if you check in the supported languages, if English is one of them, that means that uploaded game also includes the English version. So when you download the game, it flags the English version. That's what you get. What's happened with Dispatch, I believe, and Nintendo just released a statement just before we went live, which didn't explicitly say it, but kind of suggested the same thing, which makes me think it is the case, is that the Japanese ratings board is really against nudity.
Zero?
Strictly against zero. Strictly, even like a Z rating, which is like 17, 18. Woko, yeah. Woko, no, they don't allow any nudity whatsoever. So because Ad Hoc have uploaded their version of Dispatch to Switch and Switch 2, it has to adhere to every rating for every region because it's the same game. So because the Japanese ratings board doesn't allow nudity, none of the versions can allow nudity. So people have been saying, well, what about Cyberpunk? But Cyberpunk was a different situation where CD Projekt uploaded a specific Japanese-only version. to Japan eShop only. So if you download that from the Japanese eShop, you get the Japanese version because there's no English equivalent, and then a separate one for other regions. That costs extra money, and if you're patching a game, then you have to patch it twice and all this kind of stuff. So because Ad Hoc's a smaller developer, I'm assuming they've gone, okay, we'll go with the single version route, and that's why they have to adhere to Japan's censorship, even though it's available in the West. That's my theory.
It seems quite.
I think that's right.
It seems to suggest that.
I think that's right, and this is why it's really more Nintendo's fault than Ad Hoc's, because ultimately, like, Xbox works the same way. For instance, of Xbox, what you described about if you own Cyberpunk on your Xbox account, and then I don't know what would happen if you switched your Xbox region to Japanese or whatever. But the point is, if you were then logged into your account and trying to download your copy of Cyberpunk in Japan, you would indeed get the Japanese censored version, where in Japan, like, when you're doing character creation, you can't do male V's penis or pubic hair. It's just gone. Male V just looks like an action man. And, you know, the breasts are censored and things like that. Or, like, scenes have been changed, like at the very start of Cyberpunk in the prologue when you're rescuing Sandra Dorset and you pick her up, and in the Western version, the main version, there's just boobs straight in your face. In the Japanese version, she's wearing a top, I think, in that. And there's also, CDP did a few versions, so there's a different version for, like, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. There's a different, but then, like, that's the Middle East version, but Israel, which of course is in the Middle East, gets the Western version because they don't have the same censorship. So Cyberpunk, CD Projekt's been quite thoughtful about it. But the reason I say that makes this more Nintendo's fault, and it's a bit of a pattern with Nintendo, is, and actually it comes down to something that Andy and I were discussing the other day, and you guys know all about this, right? Where in the terms of, if you're a video, this is peek behind the curtain for people who don't know, and I'm sure many people who listen to this do know, but when we get review copies of games, in the modern age, the publishers could send us codes for the games. And the acquisition method of those codes obviously has to come through the platform holder to some degree. Now, if you're on PC, if you're on Steam, I don't know if it is literally unlimited, but it is effectively unlimited. You can log into your Steam backend, by which the bit where you edit your store page and stuff like that, press a button and it will spit out a bunch of game codes for you. PlayStation and Xbox, you do have to buy them, and Nintendo, you have to buy them. But the one thing I know universally from speaking to people at publishers and stuff is that Nintendos are by far and away the most expensive, like by a magnitude of numbers. And it's the same thing here, where this problem would be solved if Nintendo made it a little bit cheaper and a little bit more reasonable for publishers to submit multiple versions of the same game and patches for multiple versions of the same game. And that's where I think the problem is.
Yeah, the fault does lie with Nintendo. It's not the reason most social media people are, because a lot of them are going, Nintendo censored this game, and it's like, well, no, Nintendo's hands are tied to an extent, but it could be easier if, like you say, Nintendo made it easier for developers to submit multiple versions of each game.
Yeah,
it doesn't kind of, like, CDPR can do it because they have the money to do it.
Exactly,
smaller developers don't. So it's their fault, but not in a sinister way, in a infrastructure way.
I think it's pretty clear that Nintendo doesn't care that much, because the eShop has some of the lowest standards for like for like hentai smut. For like hentai smut and stuff like that. Like, they've got absolutely loads of shovelware that is, you know, bring back the Nintendo seal of quality, bloody hell. In terms of, you know, Super Hentai Girl Deluxe or whatever crap is on there. But the difference is the people who make those games are quite happy to, just because they're making them for like 50p and a bottle of White Lightning, they're just like, you know, it doesn't matter if we can't ship it in certain territories. Whereas obviously they want to ship dispatch everywhere.
And also, like, as I understand it, I can't say I've dabbled too heavily in many of those games, but as I understand it, they don't go all the way with the nudity anyway, and that's why they get away with it, because they're more of teasers rather than revealers, as I understand it. But
yeah, I mean,
I can't say I'm an expert.
Ironically, the fault, if the dispatch guys are at fault anywhere, it's probably that in terms of their Switch sales, they've probably done more damage by doing this than they would have done by simply not shipping in the countries where the censorship would be required.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being ignorant here, but I don't imagine Japan are bending over backwards to buy dispatch.
I don't know. It could really
I was
appeal,
going to ask for resident Japan expert Jordan's take on that, but
it could really appeal though. Like as I recall,
maybe he's gone to Japan.
I think he has.
Yeah, he's on the flight now.
He's homesick.
Moshi moshi.
That's what we have to say when he comes back.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because it's. But yeah, people want to believe this idea of Nintendo as this company that is completely against any adult stuff. But a really good example is the Yakuza games, right? There's quite a bit of slightly racy stuff in there, and they ship them. The thing about Dispatch is it's quite upfront, so there is a penis front and center within the first 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
And it's in a comedy way. It's not in a sexual way. It's the guy gets his trousers blown off or whatever. I can't remember, but he's in the middle of a fight.
Fair play to them. I'm going to take over hosting duties for now until Jordan comes back.
I think you should just take over.
Oh,
never mind like that. He heard the slightest threat of me taking over, and he's
Moshi! I am back. I am back from the city of Tokyo, and let me tell you, the weather is stunning. Not as warm as it would be in September, but still pretty warm. Oh, sorry about that, lads. I simply, I fainted like a pantomime dame when you started talking about breasts and penises. So, but now I am back.
The best of us.
And I'm glad I'm back to talk about this because Chris would have censored it because it's against his religion. Twice as many developers surveyed by GDC say they want to make games on PS5 or Switch 2 more than Xbox. That's according to the latest annual State of the Game Industry Survey, which is managed by GDC. The survey, which questions more than 2,300 games industry professionals around the world, asked its respondents to list which platforms interest them most as a developer at the moment. Respondents were allowed to choose as many options as possible, meaning they didn't have to choose one platform over the other. No shock here. Biggest platform, PC. 80% of respondents. Who's not wanting to make a game for PC is interesting to me, but
Nintendo.
Nintendo. As we go forward, 40% said they were interested in making PS5 games, 39% for Switch 2, and only 20 chose Xbox as an option. Chris Scullion, a dagger to your heart, naturally.
Well, clearly, I mean, I'm not sure I will sleep for the rest of the weekend. This is like
perhaps not shocking. Perhaps not shocking, given the state of things at the moment. I think people were maybe a bit dramatic about this. I know that Microsoft's numbers this week as well have been pretty shit, but not every bad Xbox story is the end of the world.
That, behind the scenes, it gets underreported because, obviously it's not in, if you're a big company and you've got a PR department, it's not in their interest to have that stuff out there. But Xbox is not very popular right now with a lot of the big companies because obviously they're doing what's good for them and heading towards becoming a third party. But that kind of raises questions if you're a third party publisher that supports Xbox. But why do we support you then?
Yeah.
I think you probably could have cut that sentence short and just said, Xbox is not very popular right now. With anyone, really. With the media, with the development community, with the users, apart from obviously there is a contingent of people who are very loyal to Xbox, and that's fine. I'm one of those people who I think the Xbox has the best operating system and the best behind the scenes setup, the cross-play stuff, the save stuff, quick resume, all that stuff is better than PlayStation.
The best console, if you're being methodical about it.
Yes,
pound for pound.
But at the end of the day, devs want to be where the users are, and because Xbox has become unpopular, why would you want to? And I think the nature of the question is, although you can tick every box, the nature when you fill out a form like that, you do think to yourself, don't you? Well, it's a bit of a cop out to tick everything, so you don't. And so I think there's that psychological thing where if you're making a game, if you're a dev filling this in who's going to GDC and you work at Ubisoft and you're making a game in an IP and you're making it and it is coming to Xbox, you might still tick Switch 2, PC, PlayStation and leave Xbox off because those are the platforms where really you're your game and your audience is, right? So I don't know.
It is frustrating at this point trying to defend Microsoft and Xbox because, I agree. I make no secrets of saying that I think it's the best, the best of the modern in terms of UI and everything. Everything just works amazingly. When I play PS5, I still hate that the disc goes in the wrong way round when you put it in the disc tray, and that you can't hold down the home button to turn it off. You have to tap it. Stuff like that does my head in. The lack of quick resume, the fact you have to download full games again to do patches and all that kind of shit. But I feel like a teacher in a staff room talking to the school bully, saying, I speak up for you in the staff room. Why you always letting me down? Being kicking kids' heads in. Yeah. I'm trying to tell the other teachers, he's a good kid, but you keep dropping the ball constantly. It's massively frustrating. I can only imagine how frustrating it is for people who can only afford one system and they went with Xbox.
Well, fucking Tim Dog.
I think as well, they've just had probably one of their best showcase in terms of the quality of the games this year. Fable and Forza, I mean, you take GTA out, they could be like two of the best games this year, right?
Yeah.
Two of the most exciting Xbox games in a long, long time. I mean, they did like a couple of like placements with, I think IGN had an exclusive, didn't they? I think Games Radar had an exclusive. And I've spoke to other press, like experienced press about this as well. And they all say the same thing is that, man, I wish I could have covered, those games. I wish I could have, had some time to gestate this information they're putting out, speak to developers and, go, look, the most interesting thing about this Fable game, why you should care, is these NPCs and look what they can do and look what they told me. And I watched that and I was like, I just got that earning, I really wish I could have, gone a bit deeper into this game and written something up and published something, but
it's meaningless.
That's just not really how they didn't seem to operate.
It didn't move. I don't like that stuff is amazing, but the reaction I saw online was, that's great. I'm glad I can play it on like the console I have or the PC I have. Like, it's none of their moves now, despite how good they are ever going to move people back to buying an Xbox. Why on earth would you buy an Xbox if you weren't already in the system?
That's not their objective now.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it feeds into it though. Like, as you say about third parties, if people aren't going to buy an Xbox, then why waste the resources making the Xbox version when everyone has a Switch to a PS5?
That's why I'm certain that the next console is going to be the Xbox games are just going to be PC games. It'll be a PC that's backwards compatible with Series X.
If Satya Nadella doesn't kill it off to like feed his AI megalomania.
Here's an interesting note about this, right? So the Fable Xbox Games Showcase trailer on the official Xbox YouTube channel from 2 years ago, from Summer Games Fest 2 years ago, has 1.1 million views. The one from 2024, is that the same one? I don't understand. Oh, no, they are different. Okay, well, the point is there's two of them. One of them has 1.1 million views 2 years ago. One of them has 1 million views 1 year ago. These are on the official Xbox YouTube. Obviously, there's uploads on GameSpot, on IGN, etc. Mm-hmm. The teaser, which is a 40-second gameplay teaser, which is a small chunk cut from what they showed in the larger deep dive, but that was what they gave to PlayStation for the official PlayStation YouTube channel. That has the same number of views in 7 days as those previous trailers did in a year and 2 years, respectively. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a more interesting trailer because it actually shows gameplay and stuff like that, where the others were like more general vibes and cutscenes and stuff like that. But I think it really tells a story about where Xbox is at now, where one of their tentpole games is getting outviewed on PlayStation's YouTube channel, which is great for them.
I mean, everything so far that we've been able to see suggests that it's been massively successful. I mean, you only have to look at the PlayStation Store charts in any given month. The big bulk of the games are Xbox games. I mean, what was the game recently that they said had sold a good couple of million on PlayStation?
Was it Indie?
Wasn't it Forza?
It might have been Forza. Yeah, was it? I'm not going to pluck it out of the air.
Forza on PlayStation broke like records for them, I think, of some description.
And the new one is in the top 5 most wishlisted games on Steam right now.
Yeah,
already.
I've said this before. This has been the thing people should be surprised about is that it's taken Microsoft this long to do this, because like that is a company that is founded on releasing things on other platforms. Like when you look at Again, I've said this before, so I apologise for repeating myself, but when you look at when they moved Microsoft Office to the Mac, and they could have very easily said, no, if you want Microsoft Office, all your workplaces and businesses all need to buy Windows PCs to access this. But instead they say that actually a lot of people are sticking with the Mac, so we might as well put Office on that, so people who want to use Word can still give us money and stick with their Mac. This has been their ethos since the very start. So it's if anything, it should be surprising that it took them this long to say, actually, let's get on PlayStation.
The crucial thing for them next gen now, if they actually want to sell any hardware at all, is if they're going down the path of and the ROG Ally is like the template, it's got to be more seamless. Because I had 100%. The experience. I like the ROG Ally X, and I was very grateful to have had one, not even to review. They were just like, we just think you should have it and live with it. Great. And I did have it, and I did live with it, and then I put it away for a bit. And then on Christmas Day, I was going to my in-laws, and I was like, you're at your in-laws on Christmas Day, and you do the and you do the dinner and stuff like that. And then inevitably there's downtime, and people are sitting around with fat bellies, very full up, with a brandy or whatever, and they're watching Strictly or whatever craps on TV on Christmas Day that I'm not interested in. There was no Doctor Who this year. So I was like, I'm going to take the Xbox, the Asus, the Xbox Asus, whatever the hell it is. I'm going to take that bloody thing with me. And I took it with me, and it got to that time when I was like, right, I've got some downtime, the kid's distracted, my parents and my mum and my partner's mum are chatting away and doing stuff. My wife's off doing something else. It's like, I've got some alone time. And my brother-in-law had just gone upstairs. He'd had the same idea. He was like, I'm going upstairs to do something else. And so I was like, I'm going to play this. I took it out. I booted it. It needed a Windows update, which took like 30 minutes. And then when the Windows update was complete, it had lost authentication with the Xbox network, and I couldn't boot anything. And I nearly put it through the wall. I was like, what is the point? Like, if I bought my Switch, I could have just opened it and played it. Yeah. If I bought my Steam Deck, I could have just opened it and played it. And if they don't fix this, and every time you boot their new console, or whatever you're going to call it, PC console hybrid, it's a faff, it's pointless. And the one thing I say is, it's like we were discussing earlier, the one thing that they're really good at is, I never turn on the Xbox and end up really frustrated, even when it's been off for ages, in the way I sometimes do in my PlayStation.
Yeah. And
if they go backwards on all that, because the whole thing is built on Windows, which sucks now, that is the last thing that Xbox is good at gone.
That's something they need to sort. This next console needs to sort out how to download Windows updates in the background without it being powered on. Because... Yeah. Like you say, the way Xbox, the Series X currently just downloads loads of stuff while it's off. So when you turn it on, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, it's ready for you. You're good to go. Everything's installed in the background while it's been on standby. That's fine. They need to figure out a way to do that with Windows updates while you're not using it. Otherwise, like you say, you don't want to go home, sit on the couch after a hard day's work, turn on the telly, and then you're sitting there for half an hour waiting for it to do a load of shit before you can even play a game. They need to fix that.
Well, PS3 was really bad for that, right? That's my memory of PS3.
GOAT console.
You didn't turn it off properly. Which, to be fair, PS5 still does. But, it was even worse in those days, right?
Mm-hmm. Are you just ripping the power out the back of your PS5, or just I think tearing the cable to bits? Chewing on it like a mouse?
Yeah, with my bare teeth.
Yeah.
I think I'm sensitive to that sort of stuff, because in the PS3 generation, that was the era when I was getting started in the media, and there was a period of that while I was at uni when I worked at Game. And it was true that every PlayStation that you got traded in, you would have to sit there and do the reconstruction, because if they're taking it to trade in, was powering it off properly. They were just ripping the plug out the wall and walk into the shop.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that just does my head in. But yeah, just literally that experience on Christmas Day has literally put me off using the ROG Ally. I haven't used it since, which is, I think it really says something.
Hopefully it's just these are lessons learned, because that if it's the same on an actual console, the narrative around Xbox stuff is already toxic, but that kind of stuff, it becomes laughing stock territory, and I don't think
it becomes really massively. All it takes is one tweet of somebody saying, "This took me 5 minutes to start up," and then that's it.
Yeah.
That tweet goes widespread. And
the problem is that Windows is getting worse and worse and worse. And my concern is that their intent is to integrate Xbox more and more into Windows, which, as mentioned, is rubbish. And so that's the danger, right? I don't know.
Well, lots to think about while we're booting up our Windows machines. When we come back, Alex is going to talk about Resident Evil. I hear there is some homosexuality in a new Nintendo game, so I'm excited. And they're going to put some...
Metroid.
I thought you meant in Resident Evil then. I was like, whoa, have I missed something? Is there a revelation about Leon?
I got the secret demo, and we'll also be chatting about the games that are coming to Virtual Boy via Nintendo's recent announcement. But before then, Alex, if I wanted to go somewhere to get extra podcast videos and ad-free browsing from your favourite white men at VGC, where would I go?
I believe you have a Patreon, and it allows people to experience more of this wonderful podcast, and allows them to fund you gallivanting around Tokyo. Is that correct?
Yes. Hi.
Is that where people can find out more about your Tokyo adventures?
They can. Soon we'll have... There's some Tokyo stuff up there already, and soon there will be more. Until all we do is talk about Tokyo. It's like 3 Chris Broads over here, patreon.com/video games chronicle.
But real talk. When you weren't here last week, I had a little impassioned plea for people to back us, and actually a whole bunch of people did. So thanks to everyone who signed up last week. It does make a huge difference. You know, we gag, we joke, but the media landscape is on fire, and we'd love to be in a position where we can become a reader-funded publication. So please do consider chucking your... we've still got the offer. Last weekend for the offer, right? What's the code, Jordan?
Jan 26 to get your 50% off your supporter tier on VGC, patreon.com/video games chronicle. Oh my god, my voice is going. It's the Japan flu. We'll see you in a minute.
And not just only bonus stuff. Get your ad-free browsing, and know that you're keeping our lights on.
Ad-free browsing, support Andy's habit, extra podcasts, extra videos. You get in the Discord.
Smoking habit.
The Discord is the best place on the internet, let me tell you, and not just because
Discord's fun.
For every person who signs up, I light up a Marlboro Red.
Yeah. He does a Marlboro Red. I got a big Jeffrey on the go, and Chris does an E. So if you're supporting that, you're supporting VGC. Thank you very much, genuinely. News about VGC Live coming very soon. You won't believe what we've agreed, Chris, to do. But more on that soon, and more on this podcast when we come back. And we are back. Alex, I hear a rumour that they're doing another Resident Evil. Is it any good? Tell us about who you spoke to about it and what section you played.
I played about 3 hours. I'll lay out. Embargo, we're not talking about, they don't want us to talk about beat by beat, but the broad strokes is I played a little bit of Leon.
Be a rebel. Talk about it beat for beat.
Fuck them off.
A little bit of Leon.
Every single beat.
Capcom doesn't listen to this.
And Leon arrives.
In Paradise.
Ian will be listening to this.
Sorry, Ian.
But hello, mate. But no. So yeah, basically, there's the demo that everyone's seen where Grace is going around the hospital, going around a little bit of the hospital, and she's being chased by that giant
Is that the thing you saw at SGF behind the scenes?
Yes. So it might be a mutated nurse. Maybe I don't know. And at the end of that, she escapes under a gate, barely by the skin of her teeth, right? And the gate closes behind to seal that. No, well, she gets dragged in. I can't remember. But the point is, the bit that I played, as far as I could tell, picked up pretty much at the same time, where Leon pulls up in his lovely Porsche Cayenne.
Nice.
And at that same hospital, and you see I imagine people have seen the trailer where and the showcase where Leon is surrounded by a bunch of mutated doctors and nurses. One of them's got a chainsaw, and so there's that section as Leon. Then it flips me back to Grace, and then at the end I played another section that was Leon. I guess I spoke to the director, whose name is, I want to make sure I get it right, Koshi Nakanishi.
Glenn.
And he
Robocop.
John
and he
Capcom.
basically said he basically said to me, let's start with the elephant in the room, which is Resident Evil 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, everyone was really happy when Leon was revealed, but if there was a flicker of doubt on the online and in the community and stuff, it was people who were going, hang on, the last time they did this, it was crap. Which is a totally fair conclusion to draw. And I said, what's your message to those people? And basically, he said, he didn't say it in these words. He said it in a more diplomatic way. And then I put it like this, to which he nodded and clapped. I said, the thing about Resident Evil 6 is, he said it more diplomatically, but I said, the thing about Resident Evil 6 is, it was a game that had 4 protagonists, and only one of them really played like a Resident Evil game. And then you had 3 other guys who three other characters who sort of touched on the trends of the time. So Chris was like Gears of War, esque and stuff like that. This game is Resident Evil plus Resident Evil. So rather than Resident Evil with a bunch of stuff bolted onto it, they have 2 threads. They view Grace as a continuation of the style of horror featured in Resident Evil 7, and more specifically, actually, the remake of Resident Evil 2. And they view Leon as a continuation of the gameplay of Resident Evil 4 remake. And the idea is they want to mash these 2 together. So in those lines, hello.
Dog on the pod.
Oh, konnichiwa.
Moshi.
Konnichiwa.
Alex, you telling me that makes that sound like the greatest game of all time. Is that achieved in practice, or is it like nice thoughts?
I really like it, and I think there's more going on, because I think in a way, you could say that and go, that's the game and that's it. And they could probably get away with it. But I think there's a lot more going on. The Grace section, so just to be clear, the Leon sections I played were really linear. And so much so that in the second Leon section, Leon sort of tears through the bit you'd explored as Grace. And so you can go up to where Grace's typewriters were and stuff, and Leon can't even save, because there's no point, because it's checkpointing, right? Whereas Grace is more, so in her section, the hospital has sort of 2 wings, and then there's a safe zone. The atrium is a safe zone in between. There's never any enemies there. And so you're going back and forth from wing to wing with different stuff on either side. And it's the classic, you're finding keys, you're unlocking doors, you're finding items, you're crafting stuff. So, crikey, where to begin on this? So I said there's more stuff. So, for instance, the big change is to the regular zombies, where they now have characteristics of their real life.
Right, okay.
So there's janitors who are still cleaning. There's a butcher who's got a big meat cleaver, or a chef who's got a big meat cleaver, who's still dividing up the meat. And if he catches you, will be using that cleaver on you.
Zombie Chris Scullion still writing a book.
Yeah.
Chris would still be writing a book.
People with a pen.
Zombies have more specific characteristics, so some are sensitive to light. So that manifests in a few ways. For one, you could say you're trying to sneak around the hallways as Grace, and you haven't got many resources, so sometimes sneaking is going to be what you need to do. You could literally go and flick on the light switch. And because the zombies are semi-sentient, the light will hurt their eyes, and they will thereby go to the light switch and paw at the light switch to try and turn the light off. But this is a way you can manipulate the position of the enemies on the map and stuff like that. There's chunks, which is a very posh word for fat guys. So they've got so much chunk.
Big fatty bim bims.
The chunks have so much timber, basically, that bullets
Chunk of death.
do a lot less damage. A chunk of death. There's blister heads, where blister head is where once you've downed a zombie, there is a chance they can rise again later. So it never happens straight away.
So that's Crimson Heads then, basically.
Yeah,
yes.
they should have
I
brought that
don't
back
know
a long
why the
time
name
ago.
is different. I'm sure there'll be a lore reason. But there's nothing worse than you go back into a room because you need to reuse.
It's a tension. Yeah, it's a tension. It's
crafting
brilliant.
station or
Perfect.
something like that. And then you hear a guy get up behind you who you'd killed
Whoop.
30 minutes prior, and you go, and you've got no ammo. You know,
Here we go again.
The thing I focused in on. The thing
Surprise, motherfucker.
The thing I focused in on my preview, which is on Eurogamer,
Remember me?
is it is that. Oh,
Sorry to keep you waiting.
There's blind guys as well. So there's guys who are in this hospital, like who are wearing medical blindfolds clearly because they were in for laser eye surgery or something, and they obviously can't see. But that then depends on how much noise you make and stuff like that. But the thing that I zeroed in on my preview is, I always figured from when I first heard Leon was going to be in the game that this was going to be a game that sort of swung a pendulum back and forth. But what's interesting is, and Nakanishi-san had talked about this because he talked about, in a previous interview I'd done with him at Gamescom, he talked about tension and release. There's a lovely Japanese word that sums that up, but I can't remember what it is.
It's...
But...
I don't know.
But he talked about tension and release. But what surprised me was the pendulum isn't just Grace, Leon, Grace, Leon. It's actually, like, even in that section... So this hands-on was, like, 45 minutes of Leon, like 2 hours of Grace. But even in that 2 hours of Grace, it's the pendulum going back and forth there where the game is so deftly, and not in a scripted way, moving you from, oh, Christ, I've got no resources, everything's gone, I'm in serious trouble, my back's against the wall. Then you find 1 or 2 resources, and you're like, I'm back in the game, let's go. And... it's really, really interesting in that sense. And the other interesting interplay is between the protagonists in terms of, so the game remembers. So like I said earlier, you play as Grace, this long section as Grace, and then it hands over to Leon. And Leon starts almost in the attic and then works his way back down. But once he gets down, he's in the same area you were just in as Grace. So any enemies you've killed as Grace stay killed. If you've manipulated an enemy into a different area of the map, they're in that different area of the map for Leon. If you left items behind because you couldn't get to them, herbs, ammo, they're still there for Leon to pick up. And so I think there's going to be, and they did say to me, it isn't always going to be that. It isn't always going to be you play as Grace and then Leon goes through. Sometimes Leon's going to go in first. Sometimes Grace is going to go in first. Sometimes they're going to go to completely different places. Also, Leon's stuff is not all high action. They said there will be proper survival horror with Leon. You'll still have to do inventory Tetris with Leon. But these are very different characters, right? So Grace's inventory is tiny, like Ethan's was in Resident Evil 7. And you can find coins and put them into a machine to get, satchels and stuff to upgrade her storage. Leon, meanwhile, has the attaché case, so he's got shed loads of storage. So they are different. They're defined as different characters. Like Leon's got a parry, Grace doesn't, things like that. But it's fascinating to me, the interplay between those two sides of the game and what that's going to be like. And if they pitch that right and they get the tone and the pacing right as it passes back and forth between them, I do think this could be an absolute all-time great. I was so impressed. I was so impressed. By the way they handled the back and forth, and the Graces section just felt like pure best of RE2 and RE7. Really, I will say this probably seems pretty obvious, but so the reason they've got that toggle is that Grace defaults to first person and Leon defaults to third. And I think unless you have a very strong preference, Capcom is obviously not saying this. Capcom is very keen to go, there isn't a right or wrong way to play the game. Based on what I've played, I'm going to contradict that and say the right way to play this game is with the defaults they give you.
Yeah.
Because it feels like Leon's stuff is designed for third person and Grace's stuff is designed for first.
Horror is inherently much more effective in first person.
I watched when I saw the Leon gameplay for the first time, I was just thinking, do you know what? I think I'm ready for another action RE. And I'm more confident they could do it, even as a palate cleanser. Because RE4, probably the most difficult remake in history, right? That game did not need a remake. It's not aged a day. But they broadly nailed it.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that they could do another one, like an original one, another attempt, and do a good job of it.
I think it'll be a bit of both. I mean, it's curious, like literally the characters, I asked them about this and they were like, oh, we're surprised you noticed that because no one else has asked about that, blah, blah, blah. But one
of them's a woman.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
But Grace is actually looser Like so Leon is sort of swift moving and steadier, and Grace is civilian and she's a bit slower and shakier. And I was sat there like switching them both from third person to first person and trying to see if the shakiness, for instance, was something that was being imparted by first person, or it's actually the characters as well. It's just full of lovely. I should just say, the critical path. I was sat next to another person who was playing the same demo, and they did the objectives in a completely different order to me. And
That's
what was
cool.
interesting was the order in which they did the objectives had a direct influence, because doing certain objectives spawned massive new enemies that would stalk around and would be very, very... There weren't any stalker enemies in the traditional Mr. X or Jack Baker sense, or Lady D sense, but they're almost like mid-boss stalkers, where they're sort of using that stalker DNA, but they are killable enemies, but they're very, very difficult to kill. And it's clear sort of their intention is you leave those guys behind in this demo, and then you can absolutely body them as Leon.
That's very exciting.
So,
that's one of the, like, I keep kind of forgetting that it's so close, and I'm really excited to play it. Did you get a sense of what the split will be between the two?
So I asked about this, and I basically said, is it I said, is it 50-50? And I said, I don't mean in terms of content volume, because it's the Sonic the Hedgehog problem. I swear we had this exact same conversation last week. As in, it's hard to build Sonic levels because he moves so quick that you just burn through assets. So for Sonic and Mario levels of equivalent length playtime, Sonic devs have to build loads more. And so even if they're 50-50 in content terms, because Leon moves quicker and is more action focused, I reckon if you did 50-50 in content split, Leon would then only maybe be 25% of the total playtime, right? Or maybe a third. But they sort of said to me, they've balanced it towards 50-50 in playtime. And that's where they were keen to point out. I got the impression, sometimes you get this with PR, right? Like, they will have decided what bits of the game they were going to show for this demo months and months and months ago. And I got the impression maybe there was a slight bit of regret that the only Leon bits were extremely linear. Because when I asked about this in the interview, they were like, oh, when we send through the B-roll, when we send through the video that you can publish, we've got some stuff in there that shows that Leon does have a proper inventory and has inventory management and has some scary bits and has some puzzles to solve. So I think they probably wish they'd showed that, because they don't want to give the impression that Grace is all horror and Leon is all action. There's going to be crossover. But they did say playtime, they tried to balance it towards 50-50. So we will have to see. And I will say, like, it seems like a game that's so full of lovely detail. I'd be astonished if they didn't get that balance wrong. My favourite detail, I put this on Blue Sky, is when you press reload as Grace, when you have full ammo anyway, she very, very nervously pulls the clip of the gun back to check that there's a bullet in the chamber. Nice. Which is such a lovely detail. Because in most games, either it will let you reload anyway, even though the gun's full, or nothing will happen. But in this, she does this nervous check, doing a heavy breathing, and then goes back to aiming. And it's little details like that. And obviously Leon, however, is tactical. He don't need to do that. He knows how many bullets is in his gun. You know? And it's those little details that I just think show when something is really, really going to be special. I also asked them about what it was like explaining to Porsche that they were going to have a car that was probably going to end up covered in zombie blood and guts. They wouldn't be drawn on that other than to say that they had some interesting brand conversations.
Well, it's the old story about like a lot of the brands that old racing games couldn't get, because they were like, we're not going to let you smash up our car. You can have it if there's no deformation when the cars crash, but other than that, that's cool though. Where can people hear more about your Resident Evil musings? All on Eurogamer? Yeah, there's an interview on Eurogamer. There's an interview on Eurogamer. There's a preview on Eurogamer. There'll probably be a bit more over the coming weeks where there's bits of this interview that I haven't yet published.
but yeah, I'm really, 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 really pumped, and I can't wait for. I'll have to find out who among you is reviewing it, because I'm sure we'll have to have some conversations when the copies come in. We'll have to have some. Have you got to this bit yet?
When's that out? March? End of March? End of February?
No, it's bloody soon, mate.
Is
It's
it?
Isn't it mid-Feb or something like that?
That's great.
So, no, end of Feb. So it's less
End
than a
of
month
Feb.
from when we're recording this. So
No,
that's what I mean.
welcome.
It'll probably be pretty soon.
Too many games are coming out. late
Too
February,
many
March.
games.
It's mad how many games are coming out.
Well, it's almost like there's a great big game later in the year that no one wants to be near. Almost.
Code
Pocopia.
Vein 3.
Code Vein.
Oh,
Well, Code Vein. Did any of you guys play Code Vein 2?
Did that fuck? They tried to make me take a knife onto a plane, so I've got no time for Code Vein in this household. I hear
Was
it's
that the
not
Summer
great.
Games Fest?
Yes, there was.
Yes, I left that in the
Get
hotel
into
room.
my code
Someone-
veins.
Yeah. I opened
used
my
to-
code
that
veins in the
into
bath
my
with the
veins.
code vein knife.
On VG247, we used to refer to the first one as cock vein. I don't know why. We just thought it was funny, really.
Yeah.
And we used to put it on the website until we got told that it was negative for Google. Yeah.
Oh, and we wonder why games media's in the bin. Next up, Tomodachi Life. Living the dream will include same-sex relationships and non-binary characters, fulfilling Nintendo's promise. Even me trying to say that woke sentence turned against me in the mouth. This was the Nintendo Direct this week. Chris Scullion, you're the Tomodachi Life man. You are always saying that you're excited for this. Can you give people the context of how this is fulfilling Nintendo's promise?
Obviously, I'm less excited now after this news.
Yeah.
It's really good because so obviously when the last Tomodachi game came out on 3DS, I'll make this quick because I'm conscious we're well over an hour already. Basically, when they released the 3DS one, it released in Japan first, and there was an issue with the Japanese one where players were posting videos of same-sex me's getting married and being in relationships. So people were going, "Oh, that's good. That's nice to see what's going on." It was then patched out. And people were like, "Wait a minute!" So then the story then became Nintendo thinks gay marriage is a bug and
Homosexuality patched.
And then Nintendo then came out and says like that's not exactly what happened. Like we were never, it was never supposed to be in the game. It will break the game if you keep this in it because it wasn't part of the code. We can't patch it that easily, just with the way the game works. We weren't trying to make a social commentary, and it's just the way it is. If we ever make another Tomodachi game, we promise we'll try and make it more inclusive. That was 12 years ago, so everyone's like, bullshit, they're never going to make another one. So now here we are 12 years later, and they've pretty much nailed it, to be fair. Like they showed it in the Direct. You can, when you make your me, you can choose whether they're male, female or non-binary, and it then goes to dating preferences, and it says male, female, non-binary. You can choose one of them, two of them, all three of them, or none of them. So if you want them to be heterosexual, gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, asexual, you can do whatever you want with any of them. And everyone's just been like, oh, good. And people, even something as basic as a lot of people are saying that the fact that even said non-binary, whereas like in the past they would have maybe just said like other or
like when you're filling out a passport form.
Exactly, prefer not to say. They've basically come out and says no, it's non-binary is a thing.
That's cool.
They generally, depending on which social media platform you go on, people are either massively outraged or delighted.
I have a question about that.
How's it doing on Truth Social? Good? Yeah?
I have a question about that. I wonder, what is it in Japanese? Is it still non-binary or is it other in Japanese? I wonder. I only ask because...
It's a good point.
I only ask because I did see some of the moron chuds who should choke going, this is what happens when you put a woman in charge of Nintendo of America.
As if the first thing she did on day one on the 1st of January was said, listen, we've got...
Get me Tomodachi on the phone. I've got to change things right now.
Get me Stephen Tomodachi.
And they made the change within 26 days because that's how game development works.
Exactly.
But I'm curious what it is in Japan. I mean, either way, it's excellent as far as I'm concerned. Like it's this is the right thing to do. Right? That's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
A rare W, as I believe the kids call it.
Yeah, a fat dub. We have more Nintendo nonsense, Chris. It's my favourite game with you. Yay or nay? Here are the games coming to the Virtual Boy. Yay or nay? Telero Boxer.
Yay.
Galactic Pinball.
Yay.
Red Alarm.
Yay.
Golf.
Nay.
Virtual Boy Wario Land.
100 yays. It's the best game on it.
3D Tetris.
Nay.
And The Mansion of Innsmouth.
I would say yay, but it's not aged very well. A lot of people won't like it. Yay for me.
Yeah.
Mansion of Incels.
Yeah. That's the VGC
Sorry,
Discord.
that's the people complaining about Tom and Edge Life, sorry.
More games will be added to the service in the future, including, Chris, yay or nay, Mario Clash.
Yay.
Mario Tennis.
Yay.
Jack Bros.
Yay.
Space Invaders Virtual Collection.
Yay.
Virtual Bowling.
Nay.
Vertical Force.
Nay.
V-Tetris.
Yay.
And 2 unreleased games, Zero Racer and D-Hopper. What's the stoner meter at this, Chris? Are you extremely excited to finally play these?
These are very exciting. These are very exciting. D-Hopper less so, but it used to be called Dragon Hopper. I don't know why they've changed it to D-Hopper.
Funnier.
Obviously, dragons offended somebody. But it's an intelligent systems game where it's like a kind of top-down 3D platformer adventure type things. That's going to be quite cool. Zero Racer is an F-Zero game that was never released. It looks a bit like Star Fox. The ships look like Star Fox in it, but it's basically an F-Zero game that was completed. And before they released it, they said, "Let's kill this Virtual Boy altogether." Like, no. Like, by that point, they'd realised they'd sold like 600,000 Virtual Boys, and they're like, "What are we doing?"
Did you see, Chris, that it turned out the music from that game, and we only just learned this from the trailer, because the trailer obviously showed us the music, was reused in like a Game Boy Color thing.
Was that right?
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
I was on a train when they announced it.
That's pretty cool in itself. I wonder, do you reckon there's any more? Because obviously that game was announced, but I wonder, are there any more?
The Holy Grail for me, and this has genuinely been
The
a Holy
Mario
Grail
one.
for me, was the Mario one. There was screenshots of a Mario Virtual Boy game.
I don't
And
think
I'm like,
that's
how
a real game, though.
Yeah, did that exist?
Yeah,
or was
that's
that
what I was going to
screenshot?
say. I wonder how complete that was.
It's sort of like the Sonic fanboy version of this is like all those Sonic 2 levels that everyone lusted after for years, and then we finally found out that other than Wood Zone and the incredibly named Genocide City Zone, all the other
Oh
ones,
my god!
all the other ones, which is probably why they cut it to be fair, all the other ones were just like single screens that had been mocked up for magazine screenshots.
Yeah, which would be a shame. But certainly of the ones that Zero Racer is really exciting. Like to find I think that makes every F-Zero available on. I don't know, maybe not the GBA ones, but certainly the other F-Zeros are now available on Switch. They still need to get the arcade one on there. Which should be easy enough because it's just a GameCube.
Nintendo's archiving is really good. So you like to the point where there's a story, I won't say about what specific game, but I know of a game where the third party had lost their source code and they were looking into re-releasing that game, and they went to Nintendo and said, by any chance have you still got the code from when we did certification for this game 25 years ago? And Nintendo was like, yep, here you go. So like it's so you hope that they've got lots of stuff, and I want to see if there's any more Virtual Boy stuff. And actually, what I want is, if they're not going to ignore failures, let's have the 64DD stuff. Let's have it. Like, in particular, like, there's a bunch of Japanese exclusives, and the thing about the 64DD stuff is, because the DD didn't have any real processing hardware in it, because it was just a new disc, it was a new receptacle to insert your games into. The N64 can run the DD games. It's just you couldn't fit the DD games on a cart. So what that means is there's a patched version of the 64DD SimCity that you can put on a flash cart and play on a real N64, on an analog 64 or whatever. And so
Certainly can.
that stuff should be on Virtual Console. As far as I'm concerned, that stuff should be on VC, right? Let's get it all.
Especially now you've got mouse support on Switch too.
Yeah,
stuff like
baby.
Mario Artist and stuff like that. Like the one of those, I can't remember which one it is of the 64DD games, has got the first WarioWare game in it. One of them has like a mini game, and it's WarioWare before WarioWare came out, and it's basically the prototype of that. So there's loads of kind of cool wee stuff that Nintendo could still be releasing over time like slowly drag these things out, which they're almost certainly going to do. But the fact that we're getting 2 brand new Nintendo games, and it's not even Nintendo games that leaked, because like you got like a Star Fox 2 situation where that leaked because it was complete, but it was close to complete. So by the time it came out on the SNES Mini, everyone was like, "Well, that's cool, you're releasing it," but most of the people who give a shit have already played it. To the best of my knowledge, Zero Racers was never leaked. D-Hopper or Dragon Hopper was never leaked. These are brand new experiences for us. So as people, like long-time Nintendo fans, this is a massive deal to finally be playing these games. That's like even stuff like Sky Skipper, when it was an arcade game that only a couple of cabinets were known, the ROM had leaked online, so people who wanted to play it could play it. So when they finally released it on Switch, people were like, "Oh, that's good," but some of us have already played it. This is like unexplored territory for some of us. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah,
exciting
F-Zero, finally.
Stuff. We have a last little Nintendo story here, Andy. Hideki Kono, best known for Mario Kart and Yoshi's Island, seemingly left the company after 40 years. You want to tell us about this story? And it's another one of these veteran Nintendo heads that is shuffling off.
Yeah, is it two? Did we talk about Tanabe last week?
Briefly,
Chris, I can't remember. Yeah, so two in as many weeks, even though it looks like this guy Connor-san left last summer. So they just, they're all getting to that age now. It's the same thing I talked about last week. It's going to be a sad gen for us OG Nintendo heads, all the Famicom creators, kind of leaving or retiring. Obviously, there'll be some exceptions. Miyamoto will never officially retire, even though he's long stops working on games directly. I imagine, someone like Koji Kondo, you'd see a similar setup because he's one of the oldest ones. But they're all getting to that age. So what Kono was the original director of Super Mario Kart. So that's his series that he's overseen. He also directed Yoshi's Island, notably Luigi's Mansion.
He was the assistant director on Doki Doki Panic.
a little game called Doki Doki Panic was the first thing he worked on, apparently. So
it's all right. That was never released in the West, so it's not relevant.
That's true.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe one day. Yeah. One day it'll get the Zero Racers treatment.
So what Andy said, it is the time now, because I think in the West, and people may not realise this, because we have such a broken society and everyone has to work until they die. Preferably, and they will just keep moving the retirement age back until that is the actual plan. But
according to Resident Evil Requiem, we're going to keep working after we die now.
And that, you'll still be writing books, but the retirement age in Japan is actually quite young, so you can retire voluntarily at 60, and I think it's required by law, I think, that you can retire at 60, and then if you want to carry on, and this is a recent change, only in the last decade or so, if you want to carry on, you can carry on till 65, and then at 65 is the point when a company can actually say to you, you're too old now, you've got to go.
GTF, yeah.
And a lot of these guys are in that window now, so I think Kono is 62 or 63, so he's right in that window where he can go if he wants to, and it's not the point where Nintendo might say, and I don't think Nintendo's the sort of company that would say bugger off, but I think you're going to get more and more of these guys. Also, the back little bit of his career he was the guy who got put in charge of all the mobile stuff, and who knows, did he find it as fulfilling? Because a lot of that stuff was not as successful.
You gotta wonder if a bunch of them, there'll be points where they all decide this is it, this is the time. So some of them, it looks like Connell left apparently, and he posted on Facebook last summer, like Andy says, you get the feeling, you guess he's probably waited for the Switch 2 to come out and then went, okay, new generation, time for me to go. Tanabe left like when Metroid Prime came out. He's like, okay, that was my last thing. You wonder if as each new game comes out, whichever veteran was working on that game will say, okay, that's my cut-off point. The Switch 2 era is basically going to be the era where everyone hits that retirement age and then picks their point.
It's a very personal decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, Imamura, who's the art director of Star Fox and F-Zero, he chose to leave. I think he's in his 50s. He decided to leave, in his own words, because he's like, well, I've probably got 10 years left of creating and I don't want to spend it, doing the same stuff here. I've got other stuff that I want to do. I want to go and make a manga. I want to go and create new things. So it's obviously a deeply personal decision too.
Like transitional time. A lot of the senior, we were talking about Pokemon's 30th anniversary recently, like early in the podcast. Those senior figures, that original Game Freak team, basically all of them have transitioned into mentorship roles and different roles within the company. The people that are actually making the games are the proteges of those people. So it's all running away.
And I mean, that's been the case for Nintendo for a long time.
Yeah.
So this is probably more of a symbolic thing for some of these people that are not, haven't been very hands-on for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop people, if Nintendo ever release an average game, it's not going to stop the social media community going, well, this wouldn't have happened if Connell hadn't left. They all say, oh, see, this is the new Nintendo now, it's not the old Nintendo.
Yeah, well, there's people that say that Pokemon hasn't been the same since Satoshi Tajiri left. It's like, he's still there, mate.
Since Pikachu lost weight.
He's coming back.
They should never have let him get Finn, to be fair. That was a mistake.
Don't worry, 30th anniversary, he's back. He's a big fatty boom boom again. Excellent. Well,
he's what do they call him? He's a chunk.
Yeah, Chonkachu they call him.
Chunku des.
You can actually Tomy, is it the toy company, have reissued the original Fat Pikachu plush from 30 years ago that you can get again, which is nice.
Looking behind me because I've got my original one from '99 or whatever somewhere, but it's not in here. I don't think my daughter might have stolen it.
It's worth upwards of £15 these days.
That original run of Tommy plush. That original run of Tommy plush is worth a lot of money because they degraded really quickly because they were made quickly because they didn't expect Pokemon to be what it was. So if you have any of the original ones, I have that sitting on this desk somewhere.
Lightning Mouse.
I actually found, speaking of like old plushes, I found a bunch of 90s era Donkey Kong Country plushes, like DK, Diddy, Funky Kong, Dixie, and I was like, oh, these are not that Diddy, not that one. But and I was like, these can't be worth anything. And I just put them in a bag to send them to a charity shop.
I sent them to one of the devs recently, because there was a bunch of them for sale on Mercari, the Japanese eBay, and it was like 500 quid.
Oh yeah, well they've still got all the tags on, and I sent them to go to a charity shop, and my wife was like, let's check these, and then she checked them on eBay, and they were worth like hundreds each, and I was like, oh yeah,
don't throw anything.
You know what's priceless?
Don't throw anything. This is where we end up on hoarders, Andy. This is how.
That's the message to everyone listening. Don't throw anything. That goes to you, shot putters, javelin enthusiasts. Don't throw anything.
This is priceless. The dancing ditto. It's the best thing that I own currently, and I'll be sad one day when I make him dance too much, and these little dancing balls that you use to make him dance explode in my hands.
Mauls it.
Doing the bushwhackers.
Exactly. God rest one of them. I can't remember which one. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. A special treat since there's four of us. It's a wee bumper
so long,
and since I was away last week, I thought you need some more. You need to spice up your life with some more JJM. Alex, this is where you hawk your shite. You've talked a lot about Eurogamer. What about this role-playing game site that you've been squirreling away on?
People know anyway. But at RPG site, rpgsite.net, and at RPG site on everything that you would follow it on. It is like VGC, but it only covers those games where numbers pop out of people when you hit them, basically.
Like Borderlands?
We do cover Borderlands.
Yeah, proper site.
4, but well.
It was all right.
But especially, but if you want to, it's pretty interesting time at the minute. I think it's going to be a good couple of years for RPGs. I think about this year and next year, and I'm like, ooh, which I'm sure I'll be on to talk about some of that as we go forward. But RPG site, and I'm AP Zone Runner on everything as well, except for X, where I got banned for calling Elon a cuck, as has been noted in the past.
Well, fair enough. Is there any way for people to give RPG site money? You hawking pennies like us yet, or what?
Not yet, but that is, that is something we're looking at, because it is, and this is why it's really important for you guys listening to support VGC. Ads are great, and they are absolutely a revenue to making money, but it's a fickle mistress, and it requires you to do a load of stuff that sometimes isn't actually in the reader's best interests. And so it's best for places to be funded by the people that love them. And so you guys have done a great job with that here, and that is something that I'm thinking about. We're going to be RPG Site's going to be 20 years old this year, so we're thinking a lot about what the next decade looks like.
It's only 10 years younger than me. That's a fucking joke. Excellent. Go and support that. Something for the weekend, Andy. How are you depressing yourself this weekend? Anything planned?
I'm taking Suda to the football.
Let me tell you, if there's a more VGC story on earth than that, I'm struggling to find it. Do you know which match? Are you going to share which match, or is that safe?
I'm taking him to Chelsea away. Yeah. So if you see a man that looks like a game creator, Suda, you mug. Suda. If you get walloped by a Japanese game creator, you know why.
Yeah, it was Satoshi Tajiri. Chris, this weekend for you?
He's watched Green Street. I've sent it to him.
Oh well, if he's done the research, then he's fine. Chris, you got much planned this weekend?
Book and
fucking
reviewing a couple of things, so it'll probably be a weekend of games, which is always nice.
Nice.
Got an interview with someone coming up on the site next week, because someone we literally were just speaking about, so keep an eye out.
Satoshi Tajiri, you lucky bastard! That was the first one in 20 years. That's amazing. How'd you get that access?
What can I say?
Chunko's sad.
I've got the charm. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. A weekend of games, which is on Royal Rumble as well, obviously.
Oh yeah, we'll be watching that. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about it right now, Chris. Are we going to do something for that? They want it. Aye. We're doing a Royal Rumble podcast. There you go. This is the creative process of VGC. This is really behind the scenes. Donaldson, what posh pish are you doing this weekend? Fucking foie gras tasting.
It's a pretty quiet one because it's a pretty quiet one for me because it's the Super Bowl next weekend, and I've had like 3 solid weeks on the session every weekend, so it's for the good of my body that I have a quiet weekend, spend some lovely time with my family. Without letting any alcohol pass my lips. So that is my plan. I'm going to have a quiet one. I want to play that new Space Warlord baby trading simulator where you're
that one
where you're shorting babies. It's like a stock market of abducted alien babies in some like Warhammer-esque universe, and you're shorting babies and trading babies. It looks pretty good.
Peggy 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to play some of that. I'm probably going to keep chipping away at Final Fantasy VII on Xbox, because for some reason I've told myself I'm going to get all the achievements in it, even though I don't care about achievements anymore. I don't know.
Can we talk about that now? I think I was away when that embargo lifted. Switch 2 version of that, handheld at least, I was blown away. Like, I couldn't believe how good it was. Like, when you put it in the dock, it looks pish, but when you use the handheld, it's very impressive. So
I think that's often the story, right?
Yeah.
I think that's often the story, is they look rough on... They're not rough, but you can see where the compromises are.
It looks like a PS4 game when it's on the dock, but when in handheld, it's like, this is mind blowing. So
it looks great. Yeah,
I've not played in 5 years.
It's a good port. Now, so. The real test is going to be Rebirth, and let's all just stay tuned on that one, because I bet it'll be sooner rather than later. So
Switch 3, here we go. I'm doing hee-haw this weekend, apart from trying to get some new glasses, because these are scratched to buggery. So thank you very much for watching, listening, and supporting on patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. If you head to the Discord, there is currently a VGC Live Discord section where people are meeting up, talking about their plans. We will have concrete details for you this time next week. But if you are traveling from outside the UK and you want to come to VGC Live, maybe send me a message, and maybe I give you the inside scoop. Maybe I'm the real insider. Who can say? Donaldson, you going to come up for VGC Live?
I'm going to try to. Yeah, I think I have been. Okay, I think I've been told the date, and if I've been told the date, it's close to some other stuff. But I'm going to try and move stuff around. I'm going to.
25th of December, isn't it?
Yeah.
December.
The venue hire was very cheap. We had to go where it was cheapest, and it was the 25th of December.
I'm going to say that is a very, very cheap day to get the venue, to be fair.
Well, that is the end of this podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Say goodbye, Alex.
Bye-bye. Say
goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Chris.
Sayonara, Chris-san.
Arigato gozaimasu, and we'll see you next time.